Alright, fellas, what's going on? Denonu here, the man with black privilege. And we got ourselves another review, impressions, whatever you want to call it. But in this video here, we're going to be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Super Bowl spot. And this honestly surprised me because I've seen like the first trailer that they had for part 2, and as somebody who is a huge fan of Ninja Turtles, I basically grew up with the Ninja Turtles back in the 80s. I didn't really like none of the 90s television shows and stuff until you got to, I want to say, the cartoon, what was it? The one that came out in the early thousands. I thought that was pretty badass for what they was trying to do with it, where they made Shredder a badass. But anyway, in this teaser, I wasn't hoping for a whole lot. I hated the first Ninja Turtles movie, the reboot of it, the one that came out a couple years ago. Didn't like it at all. Did not like it. Didn't like Megan Fox's April. Didn't like the way the Turtles looked. Shredder I thought was pretty good, but they never did nothing with his character. Hated what they did with the Foot Clan. I mean, it was like it was hard trying to find something about that movie that I liked from the source material. It really was. I think the only scenes that I did enjoy was those jokey type moments that they had of like when they were in the elevator, or when Splinter was punishing them and he had like the Pizza Hut pizza right there, and they was and trying to convince him to talk and stuff. That was pretty cool. So when this one was announced, I was like, wow, they seem to be doing that sequel pretty quickly. And then I seen like the first trailer for it, and I seen that they had redid the Turtles design as far as how they look, and they made them a little bit better, but they still got to keep them in the same vein as the newer or as the first movie. So I wasn't expecting them to change a whole lot, but it seems like they took a few of the aesthetic things off of their characters and their bodies and whatnot, and somehow they're bringing Shredder back. I mean, I knew they were going to bring him back eventually, but I figured they was going to save that for like a part 3. But the big thing in this movie, you have like Bebop and Rocksteady. Glad to see them actually finally making a movie debut. But you also had Krang. Wasn't expecting that. Well, really wasn't expecting that. Being a huge Turtles fan, that was something that I've never thought we were going to get on screen, to be honest. I thought that they were going to like hint at it. It was going to be heavily rumored, but to actually finally see it. And what I think maybe the Technodrome. Only because I remember in the first trailer, you seen all the bits and pieces flying out and stuff like that. And everybody thought that they were like pieces of buildings and stuff. But I remember I was thinking like, okay, is that like a portal to Dimension X, that whole Krang dimension where the rock people came from and all of that. And that's what I kind of thought that was. But then I was like, why would the Technodrome be coming out in pieces? But maybe that's the whole thing in like in this movie. Maybe when they open up the portal, it comes out in pieces like that, and then it all forms together into a big ball in the sky, and then forms itself to look like whatever they're gonna make it look like. They're probably not going to make it look like how it looked in the old Turtles cartoon, only because it was pretty much a white sphere with tank treads with a huge eyeball at the top. If they do, that's going to be I'm going to be incredibly surprised, because that's kind of like a weird little 90s design. So I can see them changing it. They might just make it a floating sphere, like a technological sphere, but the fact that they actually had Krang in there, and it wasn't no like, we have Krang, and then it's gonna be some bullshit where, Krang is the suit. It's like, no, they actually had Krang. They just made the body look different, which I can understand, because Krang and how he looked, or how his body looked back in the day, was pretty much like looked like an old school wrestler wearing like 70s sunglasses. So I can see them changing it. I actually like the newer design of him. It fits more. He actually did a lot of the, I'm gonna say moves, but it's not really a special move or anything. But I remember he was doing a little spinning around thing. I know he's done that in the cartoon a few times. So it looks like they're really going in the right direction with this sequel. It looks like they saw all of the negative publicity of the first movie, and then they was like, okay, how can we take what we have so far and make it stick to the source material? And it's like, yeah, I don't like what they have, but I like where they're going with it. If they can keep that trend moving and not make no movies where the Turtles go back in time to ancient Japan, they should be pretty cool in my book. Because, I mean, they can only go, go up from here. So, my problem is, by them having Shredder in the first movie, Krang in the second, if they want to keep the ball moving, if it was me, I would have saved Krang for, let's say, movie number 3 or movie number 4. Because I'm assuming if this movie's big, they're going to want to, continue to ball and, continue to make more movies. Why not? But Krang is like a really, really big, popular character. So that's why, he's like how Doomsday should be in Batman and Superman. When you don't have him in that movie, you have him like 3 movies down the line where he kills Superman. It's like you can have Shredder in the first movie. I don't know who you would introduce in the second movie. I mean, hell, they can go back to the 20, I think it was 2003 or 2004 cartoon and pull in some people with that. Or hell, I'll do you one better. Go back to, when did that movie come out? 2007, the TMNT movie, CG movie that they had where they fought this Vandal Savage-like guy where he actually had these stone warriors that were with him. They could have did that in live action. That would have been badass. But that's the problem with the Ninja Turtles is they don't have a lot of bad guys that you can pull from. Unless you pull off those bad guys that you only saw in like the newer cartoons. Because if you go back to like the 80s cartoon, they were mostly fighting the Foot, Shredder, and Krang. And you had a few other people in there too. But like, they're just not big enough on their own to carry a movie. Like, I thought they were going to do the whole Baxter Stockman thing with the Mousers. Only because you had him in the first movie. I mean, granted, he didn't do nothing, but, they had his character in there. So that's where I thought they were going to go. But, like I said, it's like he's not a strong enough character by himself. I mean, he would have to be working with Shredder or working with somebody else. He's not a big enough threat on his own. But that's just been my thoughts on it. I'm really seeing this trailer finally has me pumped for the new Turtles movie. Honestly, before this one, I can say I wasn't really that excited to see it. Now, since I know they're doing Krang and all of that stuff, and they're trying to keep it too close to the source material, it's like I'm not like Captain America: Civil War pumped, but it's definitely piqued my interest, and I definitely want to see more of it. So those have just been my thoughts on it. My name has been Denonu, the man with the most biggest and the most blackest privilege on YouTube. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.